So I wanted to get started asking about how you became attached to direct the film and what really interested you in the script and what that process was like of approaching the directing for the movie.
Yeah, there was a friend of mine who said he came to me with the script and he said it was very similar. He's like, the script is very similar to your life. I read it and it just resonated with me in the sense that I grew up in, small town Pennsylvania. And my mother passed away when I was a teenager. And so those two aspects in particular they were just perfect. It just the ability to be able to express something like that. I couldn't pass that up.
And speaking about the movie being set in Pennsylvania and shooting there, I also wanted to ask about that experience of deciding where you wanted to film and really securing the locations as well for the movie.
Oh, it just had to be. It just had to be my hometown. I just knew it had to be. I mean, we didn't want to shoot it somewhere else, somewhere like we didn't want to fake Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is so. I think there's something very specific about it. And my hometown opened up. They were wonderful. They opened up their houses. They opened up their hunting cabins, their businesses. We shot in my high school, which was really cool. God, where else did we shoot? Yeah, we shot in a lot of places that I knew about, and we also found new places, but everything was real. There was nothing that was built. There were no sets built.
And also, I wanted to ask about casting the movie as well and what that process was like, especially finding the two main characters as well for that to find that father and son dynamic and how you went about casting the film overall.
Yeah, I wanted Shaw to be played by a really sensitive teenager, and I was really freaked out. I thought we wouldn't be able to find that. I thought we were only going to be able to find these kind of like machismo teens. But then Nolan Lyons was the very first kid that auditioned. He was a kid at the time. He's an adult now, but and he was perfect. He's just so sensitive. He has such emotional depth. So he was the very first kid that auditioned, and then we cast him. James was our number one choice, and he said yes to the project, which was amazing. James is he's legend, absolute legend.
And once the two of them signed on, what was that process like of really building the dynamic between their characters and really showcasing how they related to each other and just that overall process of working with them on the story?
Yeah, I think what made it fun. I mean, we had phone calls and we had emails back and forth, but we didn't have any rehearsal time. They both just came on the day. And with Nolan, it was all about talking to him about my own experience. That was the main thing that I did in directing him, because I had been through that kind of teen grief. And with James, putting them in the same room together, Nolan and James, it was exciting because I think because of the fact that Nolan was so sensitive, and then James has this very dynamic performance where he's both, he has this kind of macho aspect to him, but he also has love. He could have played that role as a jerk, but he didn't. So they spend the whole movie kind of missing each other, and it was just really lovely to watch.
And speaking about that fact, while I was watching the film, I really thought there were moments where his character really cared about his son, but didn't really know how to express it. So I wanted to ask about that particular dynamic and really showcasing about how he approached becoming like a full-time parent and just what his approach was to showcasing that aspect of his character as well.
Yeah, I think that we'd find these little moments for him to like look back at his son, or there's the moment when they're on the porch and they're having that conversation, and James gives him just the faintest of smiles, to show that he loves his son. So we would, James and I would just kind of talk about little moments like that, little moments that could be spread throughout. But James also just did that because that's just what he does. And I know he knows what it's like to be a father because he is a father. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And was there also maybe any moments on set when the cast maybe improv at all, or did they mainly stick to the script? And what was that experience like of maybe changing things on the day?
I don't think we did any improv, actually. I think we were always, no, I don't think we did any improv. it was always, we always stuck to the script. I think, David wrote a really beautiful screenplay, and the words were so, what I love about David's screenplay is just that the dialogue is very real and very natural. And so there's not a lot of need for improving things to make them seem more real, you know?
And also, I wanted to ask about Nolan's experience of showing the character's relationship with his mother and showing those flashbacks about their dynamic together and really building the mother son dynamic as well.
Yeah, I mean, Amy Hargreaves plays the mom, and I talked to her about my mom and about that experience, and I talked to Nolan about that experience of being with my mother when she was passing. And it just, in the editing process, it turned into these. It wasn't originally flashbacks. It turned into that during the editing process, as a way of, I think, of exploring grief throughout the entire movie, if that makes sense. I had a friend of mine comment that the film kind of has a ghost throughout the whole movie, and that's sort of Amy's character, as she plays kind of this ghost that sort of haunts him throughout the whole movie, in the sense that he misses his mom and loves his mom and wishes that she was still here.
And also, I wanted to ask about getting to produce the film as well, and that process of maybe balancing the producing with directing as well.
It was hard, but it was hard. But I had these two. I mean, my fiance is one of the producers, Nancy Degnan, and our other producer, Julio Velasquez. Um, those two are incredible. And at a certain point, I realized I couldn't really do both at the same time, and they were amazing. They were absolutely amazing, and they took over that process for me.
And also, speaking about the editing, I also wanted to ask about that experience and really delving into putting the final version of the story together and what that experience was like for you to really help edit the film overall as well.
Yeah, I got to work with David Barker. He's an editor who's done, God, he's done so much. He edits a lot of Josephine Decker's films, and he's just a genius. He's an absolute genius. I learned a lot, not just about editing, but about filmmaking from him. And so the editing process, in that way, because he's such a genius, my job was more about, talking about how I wanted to have this be my own personal experience. So it was a lot about that for me to it was a lot about catharsis for me in the editing process. It was painful at times.
And also, I wanted to ask about getting to bring the film out to the different film festivals and sharing the movie with audiences and what that experience was like for you as well.
It was great. We went to film festivals, went to Palm Springs International, which was really, was amazing. That was amazing. That was where we premiered. We got to go all over the country. We went to Kansas. We went to Breckenridge, Colorado. God, where did we went to Arkansas. We just got to see with all different types of audiences, and we get to travel all around the country when you can still do that, when you can still move around. So that was great. It was great to travel. It was great to see the movie with different audiences.
What kind of reactions did you maybe receive from audiences when you were able to see the movie in person in theaters? And were there any types of reactions in particular that you received from viewers there as well?
Yeah, some people would be. I was surprised. Some people would laugh during the movie, which I didn't realize they would do. Some people would be devastated. Some people would cry. So it would spark all kinds of different emotions from people. Which I liked. I liked that it didn't have one particular emotional reaction that we got from audiences. I liked that it left people a little bit torn at times.
And also, I wanted to ask about the film's upcoming release now and going digital and what that process was like of deciding to have that digital release as well after the film festival.
Oh, I think a digital release is great because it, especially with the fact that theaters, you can't go to see films in theaters anymore, at least not right now. I think a digital release is fantastic because that allows the film to be seen much more widely at this point. We can reach audiences all around the country this way. because it's available everywhere. It's available Amazon, iTunes, and Google Play. Anything that you want to subscribe to.
Now that the movie's being released this week, what do you have maybe upcoming next, and really maybe other projects you have as a director and producer as well?
Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody. The group that we had, Julio, Nancy, and I, we all have a bunch of different projects coming. I personally am going to direct a film that's actually about my actual mother. So this film actually, covered a lot of emotional subjects with regards to grief. But my next film is going to be about my mom. She was a choreographer and choreographed dance all around the world. So that's what I'm going to be exploring next.
Okay, I think that was mainly it, but thank you again for taking the time out today. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks again.